Welcome, Bill PIDTO, back to the show. Hope you're well, Bill. How you doing?
Good, CT. It's good to see you. Summer winding down. We got the preseason schedule out. We got the regular season schedule out. For those that are fans of MSG, we got 4 preseason games and 73 regular season games on MSG. So that's 77 total, and fingers crossed, hopefully some playoffs as well. First round, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Indeed. 13 national games as well, plus 3 NBA TV, 12 back-to-backs, Bill, with 4 no travel. We only play Milwaukee, Charlotte, Orlando, Chicago 3 times, which is going to be interesting out east. Season opener in Memphis. Of course, Christmas Day against Philadelphia in the Garden. And November 15 in Utah with starting a 5-game road trip. What stands out to you from this schedule?
You know, normally in March, there's a 8 or 9 day 5-game road trip because MSG is the host of the college basketball Big East tournament every year. This year, the March trip is not as bad. There's, I think, 3 stops on it, whereas in the past, there's been 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 stops. That kind of stood out to me. And there's no real extensive road trip. No one of these deals where they're gone for like 7 or 8 games over 11 or 12 days. So that's hopeful. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this starts. So the Memphis game, we're not going to have on MSG. That's going to be a national game on the 19th. We have our first regular season game against Detroit on the 21st. And our first preseason game is October the 4th, first of 4.
Just quickly, what do you do when MSG doesn't have the game? Do you watch it from home? Do you do the post game?
So last year, when the Knicks opened up against the Celtics on national TV, we did a post game. I would hope, and I'm not sure, that we do a post game after the first game on the 19th. On the rest of the national games, we often don't do a post game, so I would be home to watch. You know, sometimes I find it's really interesting to watch a game when you don't have to cover it. It can be in many ways more enjoyable when you don't have to worry about every specific thing that's happening. So I often like to watch the games at home as a fan. I definitely swear a lot more at home than I do at work.
Yeah, absolutely.
when things aren't going the way they need to go. But I'm excited. I think it could, you know, Vegas set the over under at 39.5. I don't know what you think, CT. I think that's low. That's low.
Yep. Yeah, that is low. ESPN as well had us in 10th in the power rankings, NBA.com 10th. Look, I think Jalen Brunson adds at least 6 wins.
So you're saying 10th, and then what's the prognosis for the play-in? Out?
Yeah, what is it, 7 to 10?
Yeah, so they would have us finishing 10th and then losing to the, you know how it's set up. It's 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the 2 winners play each other for the 8th spot and the 7th spot.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, the 7-8 winner gets 7th. The 7-8 loser plays the 9-10 winner for 8th.
Yeah.
So if the Knicks hypothetically finish 10th, they'd have to win 2 play-in games to get the 8th spot.
That's right. Yep.
So I'd say that would be very interesting.
Look, I think what I was going to say is Jalen Brunson adds at least 6 wins, you know, and the Knicks did crumble down the stretch for a lot of games last season, free throw line, a lot of games blowing 20-point leads, double-digit leads. You know, this point guard, I think it's not getting spoken of enough yet. Look forward to seeing Jalen Brunson's impact in preseason. Yeah, you mentioned preseason. We played Detroit in the opener in preseason. Then also the New York Knicks home opener in the Garden is against Detroit. The Jaden Ivey storyline is there. We know what happened on draft night. That's going to be an interesting matchup out east, Bill. There's a lot of tough matchups in the East. I think for the Knicks to finish 10th, you know, it's very well possible.
Okay, the one thing that we all talk about, and I don't know if the Knicks fan base, you know, with the Brunson and the rumors about Mitchell, Derrick Rose. When Derrick Rose is healthy, and he was in the COVID year, the Knicks, with him in the lineup, went 24-11. He was so important to them down the stretch. And if he is healthy, can give them a solid 20 minutes a night for most of the season, I think that could make all the difference in the world. Might you have Rose and Brunson closing games together when it matters
Yeah.
most? We'll see. Brunson, absolutely. We'll see what he can do. He's made great strides, but I just think that the wild card in many ways is a healthy Derrick Rose.
Yep, absolutely. Of course, the marquee is the Christmas Day bill. You know, we're expecting it now. But what are your feelings towards Knicks on Christmas Day? And I'm sure you're in your routine now.
Yeah, well, I to be with the family is we're not going to have that game, and to be honest, I have no issue of being off and being able to watch that game on TV. The Sixers are going to be interesting. They got Embiid. If Harden is healthy and in good shape, that's going to mean a huge difference. They got Tucker. They've done a great job acquiring veterans. They got Melton from OKC. They could be vastly improved. They got the drama behind them. No more Ben Simmons. I think the Sixers, they've been lacking the intangibles, and I think they got a couple of players that can help them in an understated way. So I think the Sixers are going to be very good. It seems that Harden, he took less money in the extension here with Philly. I think he's motivated and ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup, tough matchup. I'm glad that the Knicks have a good test. But of course, the Spider Mitchell talks are ongoing still since we last spoke. The sides have re-engaged. There's talk about Quentin Grimes really needing to be kept out of the deal. His stock's gone up since summer league. The RJ Barrett topic is still out there with the max deal as well. There's talk Utah aren't as interested in him. I don't believe that they would be as well. What are your take on the Spider talks and what a package would look like for him?
So I don't think that Danny Ainge, Utah's new GM, who's MO with the Celtics, and you can see with what he did in the Gobert trade, is to acquire a lot of draft picks. That's what he likes to do. I don't think he's going to want RJ Barrett, because as good as RJ is and potentially could be, if Utah gets him, they got to sign him. They got to extend him. And I don't think Ainge is going to want to max out RJ Barrett on that rookie extension, because that's just not the way he wants to handle things with the cap. I think Danny Ainge wants as many low-priced players and draft picks as possible. The Knicks, over the next 7 years, have 11 first-round draft picks. Some are protected, some are swapped, some are unprotected. It's very confusing. But to me, if you're going to give up 5 picks of the 11, do it. And then it's going to be some combination maybe of Grimes or Obi or Quickly. Not all of them, but some combination of them. I would seriously consider that. My whole thing with this draft and these draft picks is that they're a crapshoot. I think that you accumulate them to trade them. So to me, if Utah wants 5 first-round picks and that leaves you with 6 over the next 7 years, it's not the end of the world to me if you get someone like Mitchell. Now, the one thing is, from a basketball sense, if you get Mitchell on this team with RJ, with Brunson, with Randall, I don't know how that works. That would be really interesting. I think Fournier would definitely go back to Utah in the trade to balance out salary. So then you could have Mitchell, Brunson, RJ, Randall, and Mitch. I mean, are they going to be able to defend? And would they have enough outside shooting? The one thing here, CT, is if they don't get Mitchell and you have a left-handed Barrett, a left-handed Brunson, a left-handed Randall, and Mitch with only Fournier as a shooter, is that going to be enough to space the floor? That's the big question I have with how the Knicks are currently constructed.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I say go get him, because you figure out the rest later. Obviously, like you said, 5 picks. Hopefully one or two of them are protected, and we go from there. But like I said, these young players, Bill, Obi, Quickly, Grimes, you're going to have to decide financially what you're going to do with them in 1 or 2 years. So sometimes you need to cash in an asset that might have its peak value. If you bring in Spider and Brunson, I'm thinking IQ is resigned to a bench player. It's hard to insert him in the starting lineup. To me, he might be the odd man out with that. Grimes can defend, can shoot, and Obi's the power forward. So there's only so many undersized guards you could have on the team.
Well, there's no question, and it's very interesting from an evaluation standpoint because Obi and Quickly were so good in the final 10 games or so of the regular season. But again, they were against teams that really didn't have a lot to play for. And the Knicks at that point didn't have a lot to play for. But obviously, the acquisition of Brunson means the Knicks don't see Quickly as a starter. Because if they did, they wouldn't have made the move for Brunson. And then if you have Rose and Grimes, you're right. There may not be a lot of room for Quickly. And I think the coach loves him. So we'll have to see. I think from an evaluation standpoint, the challenge again is the things that Obi and Quickly did down the stretch, are they legitimate barometers of what you can now expect for them over the next years to come.
Yep, fascinating. Stay tuned. What I did find interesting, Bill, was the New York Mets are hosting a Knicks night, August 30. We know Donovan Mitchell, father, works for the organization and is a huge Mets fan. And apparently they're featuring special appearances from current Knicks and Knicks legends. Did you hear about that?
I did. Is Mitchell going to be there? He's not going to be. He's not a Knick yet.
He might just be there as a Mets guest, not yet a Knicks guest.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yep. Of course, the stuff in Brooklyn still going to have to play out. The Knicks two games at Barclays are on national games as well, which I'm glad the games at the Garden will be on MSG, and we'll get to listen to the best coverage there. MSG, big year coming up, Bill. There's an announcement that the direct streaming service will be available in the second half, early 23. And I know that's got to have a lot of fans looking forward to that and excited.
Yeah, Andrea Greenberg, our CEO, she's our number one person, mentioned that they're trying to get this direct-to-consumer product going for the second half of the NBA season, I guess, which you consider to be January. Right now, the way it works is that if you're in this country, you have to be an MSG cable subscriber to have access to MSG Go, which is our direct-to-consumer product. I guess now they're making it not the case that you have to be a cable subscriber starting in early 23 for this. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out for Knicks fans for sure.
Yep, definitely. Yep. And Jalen Brunson's been in the summer runs at Sky Gym. Some fantastic highlights already, building chemistry with Obi Toppin, playing in the Pro City in the Bronx with Julius as well. It's been fun, seeing the Knicks out there in the communities, giving back and also building chemistry.
Yeah, I wouldn't put just fingers crossed that no one gets hurt. That's and that's all that matters to me. I wouldn't put too much stock in what goes on that scenario, but hopefully they're getting to know each other and hopefully they like each other. That would be great.
Yep, absolutely. And in terms of the season ahead, Bill, what are you most looking forward to this season, and what are the keys to a successful season?
I just think the three balls got to get better from Randall. He had an incredible COVID year with the three, shot over 40%. His career numbers are in the 30s, and that's what he shot last year. When he can hit the three, it changes his whole game. When he doesn't hit the three, he's got to force things going to the basket. RJ, I hope, can get more efficient. He averaged the 20 points per game that he really wanted to, but he shot only 40%. So we got to have more offensive efficiency with Randall and Barrett. Hopefully Brunson can help that by creating easier shots for them. My concern, as I kind of alluded to earlier, is a lack of outside shooting. This is a 3-ball league, and I don't know that they have enough shooting outside. But it's going to be interesting. As you mentioned, if they can get 10th in the East, 9th or 10th, and get into that playing situation, who knows? That would really be interesting for all of us. And I Vegas set the over/under at 39.5. Vegas is right off, and I think they're a little bit low. I think the Knicks can win 43, 44, 45 games. Now they got to stay healthy. Got to be healthy. Can't have Mitch break down. Got to have a healthy Derrick Rose, but I think they can win 45 games for sure.
Yeah, I think you hit that. And I'll just add, I think the big man rotation now, Nerlens Noel was really missed. And I think bringing in Hartenstein now to solidify a backup spot and fill in if Mitch needs rest. And Jericho Sims has proven capable of playing plenty of minutes. I'm high on the center rotation. I know it's pivotal to Tom Thibodeau's defense. The Knicks were the above average D around the league for the second consecutive year for the first time since 1999. So I'm looking for the New York Knicks defense to continue to be above league average.
Yeah, the defense is not the problem. It's the execution late in games. That's been the big issue. What happens in the last 5 minutes of these games in a close game? Hopefully Brunson can help that, and hopefully a healthy Derrick Rose can help that.
Yep. And the Hall of Famers will be back. Walt Clyde Frazier, Mike Breen. I know you'll be looking forward to working with the team again. And the group chat that you guys have must be fun.
It is. Not for publication or broadcast. Let's just leave it at
that. Yep. Thanks a lot for your time, Bill. Look forward to talking soon.
All right, my man. Always good to be with you, and enjoy the rest of the summer.
Yeah, likewise.